everybody, I'm Bill Sanders, and this is Watch Outside, the art and science of watch collection. Today is what I'll call part one of a two-part series on one of the major high horology watch companies, and that's Jaeger-LeCoultre. And today, what I wanted to do, I wanted to talk about really two things. On the one hand, I wanted to talk about their most popular watches, the Reverso and the Master. There's a new one called the Polaris, and I'll be talking about that on our next episode. But today I want to talk about the Reverso and the Master. I'm going to talk a little about the what's called the dual met, and that's for comparison purposes, not for any kind of great detail on some of the really expensive watches that Jaeger-LeCoultre has. The other thing I want to talk about is Jaeger-LeCoultre has gone full boogie into online sales. If you want to get one, you go to their home site and you can order it from there. Now this is huge because it totally cuts out your ADs, as far as I can see. There are all kinds of other implications. If you get something online, a lot of times you don't have to pay taxes on it, or at least state taxes. And then this is something else I sort of want to look at. Okay, but first let's get started. Talk about the watches. Take a look at them. And also talk about their availability in the gray market. And it's a watch company and a make of a watch that seems to have something for everybody. All right, I mean, literally. And when I mean everybody, I mean people like me who are always, buy it from anywhere if I get a good buy on it, versus people who want to buy it directly from the manufacturer. So let's take a look at the Reverso and the Master, and a quick look at the dual meter. First of all, let me say something about my familiarity with this brand. A number of years ago, when I was early on collecting watches, I started feeling guilty about the watches I was getting my wife. And so I decided, well, I better get her something nice. And I got her this Jaeger-LeCoultre Reverso. And this is the woman's version, which is a small one. And I got it with the bracelet, the metal bracelet. And it has been a perfect watch. I mean, here you have a manual wind. And if you want, you can get it. It has a little reverse on it. That's why it's called a Reverso. Now, this one has a blank back. And the idea is that we could have some kind of engraving, but we never got around to it. So someday maybe. The other thing too is that they have, beside engraving, you can get this really incredible enameling on it. So there are a lot of things you can do with a Reverso with the blank side. My idea in my head was, well, she can have it as a bracelet. What she did was sort of interesting with it. It has a wonderful deployant clasp back here. It goes together, stays there. It's really nice. But she left it big, so it sort of jangles like a bracelet. And the people at the boutique in New York, and a friend of mine who's a watchmaker said, "Oh, we'll take it in for you." I said, "Oh, no, I like it like that." So that's another thing. But anyway, this is sort of the little Reverso. Now, the irony of a sort of as a woman's watch, a woman's dress watch, is that Reversos are really the original sports watch. They were designed for this polo player in India who really liked Jaeger-LeCoultre watches, but he kept busting them up playing polo. And so they made the Reverso. And actually, the Reverso was the one that had was like this on the like that, so that playing polo it wouldn't break the dial and mess up the watch. So anyway, that's really what these watches started out, were sports watches. Now, I first saw the Reverso that I liked. Was watching, this is a few years ago, I was watching Archie's channel, and Archie had one, I forgot which one it was. Really good looking watch for a guy's watch. It was a nice big one, granted, I forgot which model he had, but it looked like $1 million. It was really a good one. So I've always liked Reverso, both for men and for women. They're great watches. They're the Reverso in particular. Now, here, in taking a look at the Reversos I have here, I have two. The first one is the classic large, small second. That's their name, large, small second. It sounds like an oxymoron, but it's not. And the large, so they come in three different sizes, small, medium, and large. And I like the large size. A lot of guys might like the medium size or even the small size. It depends on what you want them for. I like the big one. And they run $6,000. That's the price from directly from Jaeger-LeCoultre. It's their online price. And then their small one is $4,150 and $5,300 for the medium size. Now, the basic Reverso is really the original one, and you can flip it over on the back of just solid steel. So it really is a sports watch for someone who wants to play in sports. Now, the classic large dual face small seconds is basically the small seconds with, you flip it over and there's a watch on the other side. You sort of get two watches for the price of one. And this is these run $8,400. This gets up there pretty quickly. So for $2,400 more, you get two watches. That's one way to look at it. You get a dual time. But also, too, those faces are really different. I mean, one, the black face, I think would be better for, perhaps a more formal kind of thing, date night and so forth. And it's got a day-night indicator on it, and it's called, they have a little thing that says travel time. And so it can be used as a dual timer, really a fantastic watch. And so you get, like I said, for $2,400, you get a second one, and you just flip it over, and there you have it. Both of these, by the way, most of the Reversos are manual wind, which again I like a lot better than the automatics. Okay, and looking at some more Reversos, this one is called the Reverso Tribute Moon. And it harks back to another time, so you get an older looking style, a more classic style. And looking at this, you get a lot of stuff. And this is a dual face as well. And it's also stainless steel, and it's manual wind. But when you look at it, you've got a lot of stuff going on with these two movements. On the one hand, I mean, you don't simply get the reverse on the other side. On the front, there's a moon phase and a 31-day calendar, and you flip it over, and then you have the night and day indicator. The little arrow right below the middle on the dark side, on the right side, is an arrow pointing, and it'll have the sun or the moon. Now, you may say, well, you can look out the window and pretty much figure that one out. But with a dual time, it's very handy because you can see, for example, let's say you go overseas and you want to call your friend at home, and you take a look at it and you realize it's 3 o'clock in the morning where they are, even though it's noon where you are. So having a day and night, that will give you the home time is probably a good thing. Beautiful watch. I like this one too. It's with the blue and dark blue Reverso, and then the blue strap too. Okay, now this one's $12,700. Again, they go up pretty quickly, like everything else. Because remember, we started off around 5,000 or 5,700, so that's going up there. Okay, now if you again going even higher on this scale, here's another one. It's just a similar watch, except it's in 18 karat pink gold, and it also has a day and date window. It's right above on the day side, we'll call it that. You can see right below the 12, right below 12 o'clock, it says Thursday, THUR in May. And then the day of the month is below. It's captured with a little crescent. I've always liked that crescent way of time on the bottom of that. Another Reverso. Now this thing is up there $23,900. You get again, you're getting two watches and quite a bit of watch for that much. But the thing about Jaeger-LeCoultre that's interesting is that they have such a range. I mean, like and the range starts at $5,700 for this is for a master control date. We'll take a look at in a second. But you have and it's even lower for the women's plain old Reversos too. I mean, I think they start at 4,000 something. So you really have a range here. Now, going way up the range, and this isn't even at the top, but it's really getting up there, is what they call their duomet. And this particular one is unique travel time, and it reminded me a little of very little, but somewhat of the Beauvais recital with their little globe and so forth. This one is $42,200, pink gold, 42 millimeter. This watch is just gorgeous. I really, really like this watch. It's got 2 time zones. The other thing it has, it's really interesting, it has 2 power reserve indicators. It's got and then it has jumping hours on the left, and then it has the regular hours on the right. The dual meters are the 2 meters that they have there for telling the time. And then they have in the exhibition window, you can see they also have 2 double barrels, but it's got the time zone, the hour and the minute, jumping hour, day, night, world map, seconds world. So it's like, again, we're getting up there, and we get into the tourbillons, and up it goes. And so that's one thing about that I like about Jaeger-LeCoultre. You can spend a little, or you can spend a lot. So it was, and the movements are quite good. The reason I say that, in part, is because they're also used Vacheron Constantin, Patek Philippe, I think Audemars Piguet. A lot of different really top watch companies have used their movements in the past. I don't think they're doing it anymore, but they used to. Okay, so this unique travel time is sort of one of their tip-top things. Now let's go back to what I'll call reality for most of us. Now this next line is that I want to talk about is the one I usually recommend. So you want to get a good sort of doorway into high horology. The master control date is a good place to start with and I like the sector dial. Some people do, some don't, but I like it. I also like what they call their silver sunray brush dial. Now here, let me get into another thing. The price, $5,700 and $6,300 for they're both called master control date. They just have different dials. Is that from $5,700 to $6,300, just the dial. But then when you look below, it says 5,100 gray. Now, what that means is referring to the gray market. One of the things you can find lots and lots and lots of condition zero, brand new Jaeger-LeCoultre on places like Joma Shop and other places where they have the overflow that can't be sold, and so they end up at places like that. Prestige Time, I think, is another place that has a lot of them. Okay, now, also too, and I'll talk about this a little more in a second, is Amazon. Amazon has these. Now, sort of the interesting thing about Amazon is that not only does Amazon have the new ones, and the prices that they charge for the new one are pretty similar to the ones that Jaeger-LeCoultre charges. Um, There also too if for people who have the Amazon Prime, they get free 2-day shipping, and I'm not sure how they deal with that. I got a feeling that if they don't, they really need to have free shipping from Gisella because by doing it directly from the manufacturer to the consumer, you cut out all of the middlemen. You cut out the ADs. You cut out 50% of what the watch is costing. So you got a lot more profit. And this is sort of an interesting thing. I got a feeling that certain boutiques, like the one in New York that I've been to a few times, they're going to keep those, and I'm not sure what they're doing with the other ones. I know that Audemars Piguet announced not too long ago that by 2024 they're not going to have any more boutiques. Or wait a minute, no, it's the other way around. They're only going to have Audemars Piguet boutiques. They're not going to have any more ADs. Interesting places that they're going here. Okay, so here's these are the two entry level. This next one I like a lot. It's a thin watch. It's called the Ultra Thin Small Second. It's $7,200. Again, the price bumps up. And the interesting thing about this is that it has an exhibition window. Now, if you're going to have an extra thin watch, you don't want to have an exhibition window because it takes up their fatter. Basically, this is what my El Lara extra thin looks like. It's really extra thin, and this one is pretty thin, and it's got the caliber 939 that it's running on, which is an automatic. So not only do you have exhibition window, but you have an automatic, and of course automatics are fatter because they have that rotor that has to be added to the thickness of it. But this one is a to me they did a really good job. This is a great dress watch. I think this is also a near perfect what I call a office watch, perhaps executive office, but it's a neat watch. I like this one, and the price $7,200 isn't crazy high either. So, you could be a junior executive and work with this guy. Okay, this next one now. This is all of the other ones. You may or may not have noticed they had leather straps. The reason I was showing the leather straps is that they're most economical, and that's just sort of where I want to start off to ask about that. Now here, this one has got lots of functions. It's got the date, it's got a second time zone, it's got the hour, minute, 24-hour display, power reserve. It's loaded, and I generally don't like a watch that's too crowded, but I do like the way they handle this. In fact, I like it a lot. This is a neat watch, I think. That's me, though. You may notice at the subdial on the bottom, at 9 o'clock, there's this little thing with a black and white thing. What that is that, again, that's your day-night indicator. And so for your second time zone, subdial is 6 o'clock. And there you have the little night and day. Again, you can tell whether you should call your friend or not, where it's 10 o'clock where you are at 3 in the morning where they are. It also has a little window, and it's got 24 time zones. The one that's showing to is New York, and then to the right is Mexico, St. Barth. For those of you in St. Barth. And So it's one of those. You can set it to the time zone you want, and that'll be your main time wherever you happen to be. So it's a great travel watch, I think. And I just like it. Period. It's also it's got a steel bracelet, which and like I said, my experience with their steel bracelets has been they're just great. They're really very, very good steel bracelets. This one is a little more feminine. That one is the guy that's got the thicker outside metal bars on the thing. Okay, well, I think that Jaeger-LeCoultre is a brand that's been around for a long time. They really haven't been super active in gleaning awards, the kind of awards that are given at the Grand Prix, and but they're but still they've gotten a lot of them. Okay, they well, I've got enough, I should say. Let me look this up. They've got 5. Okay, which is good. And the other thing about the awards, the Grand Prix awards that Jaeger-LeCoultre has had, is they're usually for substantial watches. They're not sort of these revival watch or something like that. There's nothing wrong with winning a prize for revival, but it's not exactly a competitive one. It's not one of the competitive categories. But so what I'm trying to say is that here is a watch brand that everybody knows about. I really don't know how many people have these watches, so it seems that they come up around every now and then. You run into people with watches who are watch collectors. I've never heard anybody say it's a Jaeger-LeCoultre. I don't know anybody who doesn't like them. They're very popularly respected watch maker, and I think for a good reason. I think they're good buys. They have a great range, and they're well-made watches, and they're available both in a lot of different online places, is where I happen to live right now. Okay, well, listen, I'd really like to hear your thoughts on this and what your opinions are. On Sunday, we'll talk about the other models they have, including the new Polaris, which is, to me, a very interesting one, the geophysics, and some of the other models. But I think the most frequent ones, the most popular ones right now, are the Master and the Reverso. Anyway, love to hear your opinions, what your thoughts are, and always an invitation to subscribe if you'd like. And until Sunday, this is Bill Sanders for Watch Art Side, the art and science of watch collection.